Hey, welcome back to the Men's Empowerment 2021. You're listening to us on our podcast or our YouTube channel, or you're watching us live on Facebook. You can say the comment, and I'm trying to read them as y'all are commenting on the show. I'm going to let Simply D, because I see you raised your hand, jump on here real quick. Take 2 minutes so we can get to the next topic, which is the queen topic, as far as how individuals are always yelling as queen. And I'm gonna even throw this in there, queen and king. This title is just so used loosely, right? That is off the chain. It's like what? So what is a queen to you fellas? And let's try to start cutting it down to maybe talking for 3 minutes apiece, so we can also get to maybe one more topic, which is the brotherhood, which I think is very important for us to touch on. So Simply D, real quick, 2 minutes, say what you wanted to say more. I think it's about the topic we just finished with. And then I'm gonna go to you, Rennie, about the queen, then hit you, Dennis, then hit you, Ken, and go back around to Jermaine. Go back to Ty, Aaron, and Jermaine. Go ahead, Simply D.
One of the things that I find that happens a lot is people get quickly into another relationship when they're still hurting. You can't jump into another relationship if you're still broken and hurting from that previous relationship, because all you're doing is transferring those feelings from that past relationship into the new relationship, and it's not going to work. You cannot judge me or anybody else on something that somebody else did to you. Heal yourself first, then jump into another relationship.
True. Fact. So, Queen, Rennie, talking about the Queen situation, how everybody's using this "Oh My Queen" uh title. I guess I'll just make it simple. Title.
Right. Well, at first, I know it bothers a lot of men in our age group because as soon as I started hearing it a little more casually, it started bothering me. When it's used in its proper context, it's a wonderful thing because it's supposed to be terms of empowerment for our people, because just generally talking about our history and where we've come from. Yes, we are descendants of kings and queens. So therefore act accordingly. But as a culture, we also have a tendency to turn uh, helpful and youthful terminology into just everyday slang, and it tends to lose its meaning. When you put a title on something, you also, like, there's a certain amount of uh, uh, actions that go along with it, right? If you are this, you're supposed to act this way. If you are president of a company, you're supposed to act this way. They'll take the title king or queen and use it as, well, I'm a queen, so I can do whatever I want, and I'm this and I'm that, and they're basing it on outward appearance or things that's not really substantial. And I can see where a lot of women would desire the terminology, because basically we used to use it in terms of our households, right? We have a hierarchy in our households. So you got your king, you got your queen, you have your children. And those people, your king has certain responsibilities, queen has certain responsibilities, and you run your household together. Now it's more so just another word of just saying my lady or my sister or my brother. Once again, I try not to be so down upon the usage, because we can call ourselves much worse things, which we have done in the past. But like I said, once we overuse the term and use it in too many different contexts, it loses its meaning. That's why I have the problem with the terminology. But when I do find or feel like I'm in the presence of a true queen, based upon her personality, her reverence for her self and her brotherhood and sisterhood, then I can feel comfortable using that term. But once again, it'll be used with very distinctly, and not just out there just like I just see my brother. Hey brother, what's going on? No, I'm not. That's like I say, it's going to lose its meaning when that happens.
Right. Then what you got, then?
Well, I think when women use the term queen, or if we're using the term queen for women, it kind of represents who that woman is internally. So she's the woman that's taking care of her household. She's the woman that's taking care of her man and her children. She sort of has a queenship that she's showing to the rest of the community. So in most cases, you do have women that are queens. Using that term really isn't a bad thing to represent that. I've been around this planet a long time. I've never heard a Caucasian person ever calling his wife a queen, ever. So, like the brother said, that's something that starts with us in terms of our heritage and where we come from culturally. But if you look at it, like I was thinking about this concept, I'm like, well, if you look at the chessboard, the queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard. She's powerful than the pawns, the knights, the bishops, and almost as powerful as the king. But she stands in support of the king, just like it's all biblically said, like your dad was saying, it's all lined up where these women are coming into play based on what's happening religiously or based on what's happening culturally with us. So for me, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a beautiful thing. For the women who call themselves queens and don't act like queens, well, there's just some learning to be done, a little teaching to be, a little elbow grease. Let grandma take them around the corner and teach them a few things and bring them back. Bake that pie and do whatever else you need to do to get it in order. But, I think it's a beautiful thing. I really do.
I like that. Let grandma get with him and take him around the corner, block us. All right, Ken, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I feel the same way Dan said. I think that I don't use the terminology like that, kings and queens, but I try to treat all my sisters like queens. I try to treat all my brothers like kings because this is the way to be. And I know they're a king in their own household, and no matter what's going on with them mentally or whatever, I just look at them being that way. Also, I don't, it really hurts when you find out when men or boys or teenagers or whatever calling women bitches and everything. I just don't agree with that at all. I mean, if somebody makes you upset and you got to, foul mouth them like that, but like I said before, if you're a man, you'll get a woman. But I feel like the man is the king of his household, and I feel like the woman is the queen of his household. And I think if we respect each other and treat them like that, not necessarily calling them that, but if we treat them like such, what's in, under the meaning of queen and king, I think we all be cool, really,
Cool. Ty, what you got? You freeze.
Right.
No. All right, say something now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're breaking up, but we can hear you.
Okay, so when I think about royalty, I think about character. I think about substance. I think about godliness, right? I think when you're walking, I think terms like queen get used too loosely for the wrong reasons, right? I think we all at times need to create spaces where we're not walking in our royalty because we're not perfect, right? But when I'm definitely thinking of a queen, I want her to wear her crown with confidence. I want her to wear her crown with character. I want her to wear her crown with love and godliness, because I think that exhibits what real royalty looks like. Real royalty to me is not behaving badly, calling each other girl, bitches, all that. That to me, it kind of sends a mixed message. Because for me, you can't serve two gods or two masters at the same time. Either you're royalty or you're not. I think there will be times when our crown gets knocked off. The same thing could be said about a king. But how you pick your crown up and how you adjust it on your head and how you walk your walk is what makes you royalty. I think how you love your community, how you give back, how you uplift each other, all those things, in my opinion, are what make you a real queen. Anything less than that, I don't know. I think it's just being used too loosely. That's my opinion.
Cool. Aaron.
I think that the term queen is a title that's earned, not just given. I think that at some point in time, society realized that in order to break down the Black family, they had to attack the king. They had to remove the king. Like the one brother said about the chessboard, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. The game's not over until you remove the king. So once the king is out of the household, or the king is being put in a position of no power, then they realize that they can take control and they can us from having ultimate control over everything. So I think that society today is placing a lot of responsibility a lot of opportunities and things like that on the queen. And then the queen turns around and, is now queen in a sense, but not really understanding how that game actually works. So for me, I think that the term of a queen is something that has to be earned. Earn it by, it's not a simple equation to just lay it down. You have to be a lot of different things to be able to call yourself a queen. So it shouldn't be a term that's just given to this anyway.
Cool story.
Name.
Yeah, I think I kind of looking at it from a little different perspective. When I think queen, I'm thinking that woman who is given the best version of herself. Living the best version of herself. Kind of understand herself, kind of embraces herself. But on the same token, she treats everyone around her with the same kind of dignity and respect that she would command or demand for herself. So I look at it that way. And also I look at it as, your queen, that's if you go into, with the royalty thing, it's really what, second in charge, correct? So, and like one of the brothers said, once that king is out the house, or once that king is taken down for whatever reason, she steps up. She steps up and proves her worth. She steps up and says, you know what, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to maintain this. And even with that, it's not so much as if the king is removed. At some point in time, she may say, you know what, he needs my help, but he won't tell me he needs my help. So she's going to step in and play her part, not so much as taking over, but taking command. So that's when I think of queen, I think of that. I think of someone that for no matter what the case may be, she has your back. She has your back. She's gonna ride or die with you, if I can say that. But she's gonna ride or die with you. So again, when I look at the word queen, the very first thing I think of is she the best version of herself, and does she make herself better, and does she enhance you as a man as well? So that's my take.
I appreciate everybody jumping in.
Yeah.
Let me tell Ty.
Yo.
Quick, I want to thank you. I know you got to sign off. I just got your message, and I want to thank you for jumping on here. I know you got some things to do. I appreciate you giving us your time. For everybody that missed the show or the broadcast, you always can go back to YouTube and check out the Men's Empowerment once I upload it to YouTube, or check out the podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can go and search Sadior Radio and listen to the podcast. Again, Todd, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to reach out to you and get you on the next one when we do the men's and women. I'm not even call that empowerment. I'm gonna just call that conversation, because I don't know where that's gonna go. To have women, 5 men. We're gonna talk about some stuff. But I appreciate you. Thanks again for jumping on.
Okay.
Hey, brother, Ty, be cool, man.
Thank you, fellas. Have a good one. Be blessed.
Safe, man.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. Thank you.
Assembly D, I know you wanted to jump in real quick on that topic. You got the floor. Man, again, thank you too. Thanks for that too. Is he there? Tone, you there? You there? Bruce, are you around? I had you jump in, Bruce. I know you're probably listening.
Yeah, I'm here. I had to take care of something real quick.
Oh, that's cool.
My thing as far as queen, I look at all our sisters as queens or queens in training. Until you open up your mouth and every other word out of your mouth is a foul word, so to speak, a curse word, or you want to come at me some type of way. If I tell you something can't happen that you want it to happen, like for instance, if I tell you you can't come into the workplace with a certain attire on, or you can't take pictures in a certain area, and you want to come at me, or I should spit in your face and stuff like that, then I no longer look at you as a queen. You know what I mean? You're more like a pleasant thing because you just showed your true colors. You don't have to meet negativity or be negative about everything because you can't have your way. If you want to be a queen and be treated as such, then always walk with dignity. You can curse me out without saying foul words. And that's something a lady learns how to do.
Bruce. Unmute yourself. Let's hit that mic.
Yo.
Yeah, the topic we talking about is queen, how the word queen and king is used so loosely. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, my opinion on queens and kings, man. I think anything that uplifts the culture in our Black community should be used loosely. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I would call anybody a king and call anybody a queen. If it's something that's going to empower somebody or just at the end of the day make them feel good, so be it. You know what I mean? It's just, like I said, it's a lot of things we can call people. So if somebody is I see out here in the street, if it's their birthday or it's whatever day it is, you want to call them a king or a queen, then man, listen. What's the old saying they should say back when we were kids? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Right.
Well, it's power into which you give a name to. So if somebody's called a king or somebody's called a queen, then let them be a king and a queen.
All right, so let me ask you a question, because now I'm gonna flip the script. So basically, if they outside, you know where I'm about to go with it. If they outside acting like idiots, and a female is basically popping and twerking, you still gonna call her a queen?
Well, if that person will allow me to speak into their life, I would say something like this: "Look here, queen. You know you ain't gotta act like that." And look at my queen right here, Mark. She want to say hi to you.
Hey, queen. Hey.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But sometimes when you give correction to somebody and you start off with a compliment, then they're more receptive to receiving that correction. Versus if you just come off with a whole lot of discipline, a whole lot of anger, and a whole lot of aggression, then that person might just tune you right out. But if you started off, how they say you can get more bees with honey than you can with vinegar. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Just start off with saying something that will lighten the load so that you can pour into that person's life.
All right, let me touch on some of our people that's saying no, walk the walk. These females that's saying this too. They say no, walk the walk, and they may change how she acts. So somebody understands what you're saying. Somebody also said empowerment of people. So I think that touches on as far as like when you step to the female, you say, "Hey, queen," and more so. And I think it'll mean a lot when it's coming from a man, because I think that the opposite sex don't really realize how much power they have over the opposite sex. You got, and I say that real quick when I like, you know, dudes do certain things because they impress women. Mm-hmm. Women do things to impress men. That's the way it's supposed to be. Let's put it that way.
Well, nowadays, I mean, come on, if you really think about that, women do things to impress other women. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, look, I can't say that about men.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
you ever go to a party and no women is all in a huddle and they don't want nobody to join their group, but they got the sexiest outfit that you can find in the closet on? That wasn't for us. That's for them. You know what I mean? They want to be the turn up joint in the club. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? The thing about it is, who are you really trying to impress? At the end of the day, I'm trying to impress myself personally. Right. You know, I'm my biggest contender. You know, thank God for that.
That's
but,
yeah. So speaking of that, far as self brotherhood, let's go into that topic real quick. As brotherhood, what do brotherhood mean to you? Because I see a lot of people, and I think you touched on it earlier, Bruce. Rennie, you touched on it, that you're not really the one that's free to go, yo, what's up, brother? Like, to people you don't even know. It's certain titles that you just don't throw out there to people that don't deserve the title. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll let you start it off, matter of fact. As far as brotherhood, what does that mean? As far as how important is brotherhood to you? And what does brotherhood mean to you?
Well, it's very encompassing. Just at its core, it's basically having an intellectual and physical responsibility for the health and welfare of the common man. Now, that could be obviously within your family, but definitely within your community. Brotherhood, the term stems from the relationship that you have with your siblings, most likely. The level of commitment you have in the family, the relationship that's developed from that constant nurturing. Now, taking that example of how it should be and spreading that throughout the community. That's what my true opinion with brotherhood should be. So it's basically enriching, you know, intellectually, physically, spiritually, mentally, enriching your loved ones, male and female. But specifically for us males, it's just fostering the relationships that you have that you care about, and also developing the relationships in a broad term that you might not necessarily have a hands-on relationship with an individual, but within a community to help uplift that person. We always hear about African parables about community and tribalism and how they, you know, raise each other's children and look out for one another. And that's the history that we come from. But sadly, that's the history that's been stripped from us and brings us to the state that we're in now, that we even got to explain what brotherhood is to one another. And we still so openly call each other brother, and we have, you know, throughout my entire life. And I can't say that that's necessarily true. Like, I might feel that way about what I would consider my brotherhood in my community, in my nationality, my ethnicity, but also just in my general camaraderie with humankind. Now, because of the way society has been here for 400 plus years, they have stripped that away from us to the point where we kill each other over a rap song, you know, or we kill each other over some gold, or, you know, another female that you might be chasing after, or he said, she said. There's so many brothers, especially in the Philadelphia region right now, where the murder rate is just skyrocketing, highest it's ever been. And we still got over half a year left. So obviously the plan to destroy Black brotherhood, is larger than charge, still in effect. And what we have to do is actively reach out to our communities, to our own individuals who we see might be headed down that path. And sometimes you don't know, but reach out to whoever you can and just explain to them what community is, like what a real relationship is, like especially amongst men, because they taught us to compete amongst ourselves and not to compete amongst the general populace. So within that little community that we're in, and that's all we see, we're lashing out on each other because of whatever issues like we have. We're competing with each other in a negative manner instead of competing like, yeah, I'm going to get this grade or I'm going to get this job. Come on with me, brother. I'll be there first. Instead of having that mentality, we have I'm going to shoot you so I can get what I want, or so I can stop you from being what you think you should be. And we're you know, the young men are so catty that you can't even have like a negative comment about another individual without having your life threatened. And that's the state of our brotherhood of today. So we got a long road to travel to fix that, especially in our local communities. Because I'm still Philadelphia based, so I know the problems that we're having with our young men. Our older men seem to get along a lot better because we've been through some stuff. We've seen that, done that, came from environments where we survived that and realized how foolish it was. And we realized that because we survived that and we still have individuals in our lives that we care about, such as you and Bruce, that I consider more brothers than cousins. We're the ones who have to reach out to these young men and show them these examples of there's other way of resolving our issues. There's other ways of empowering each other. Is other ways of competing with one another to lead to mutual success, and that's the goal that I aspire to achieve. And that's the goal we all should aspire to achieve, like true brotherhood based on love, commitment, responsibility, respect, and enrichment. That's the only way our community is going to get enriched. Like my brother said, to take the king off the board, game's over. And that's what they're trying to do, and they're doing it with the young men. And we as older men are kind of like, a lot of us are secluding ourselves instead of reaching out to those or less aware, and try to get into that level of awareness where we could lift each other out of that decadence that we're in. Real quick, Simply D, and then I'm gonna come to you, Ken, because I know Simply D is working. So when he raises his hand, I try to get to him. That means go ahead, Simply D.
It's like this: if they pit us against each other, that's what the brother was saying, so that we're not concentrating on them, so to speak. If we stay concentrating on trying to take each other down and trying to outdo the next guy, then they're not concerned about us because we're not concerned about them. I get an opportunity to talk to a lot of brothers here. Some take it positively, some take it negatively, about a simple thing, dressing. When you come out dressing like you belong in an establishment, instead of me having to turn you away because you got on the wrong thing. And now as soon as I want to turn you away because you dress wrong, what you want to do, you want to call me up my name, you want to fight me, all because you can't come into some place that you're not appropriately dressed to be in. You know what I mean? And some of the brothers, when I pull into, look at your lady. Look at how fine she looks. Look at how she's dressed. And look at how you're dressed right now. You don't even look like you need to be standing next to her. You know what I mean? So some of them receive it and some of them don't. But, you know, we have to start, like the brother was saying, being positive and trying to reach these guys instead of secluding ourselves. And maybe if we can reach one, that one can reach another one. Cool. Yeah. All right. See, I jumped to him because he's raising his hands on this Zoom because he at work. So when he get a break, I always try to jump on. So Ken, what you got?
Well, I come from a different. See, I was one of the ones who grew up in a project who was at one point trying to be out there trying to kill people, trying to stab people, stealing cars, bad checks, everything. I came up from that mold, right? So it ain't a cool thing to be like that, but I've had people talk positive to me. Now, I don't say it don't work. I'm just saying it didn't work for me, though. You know what I mean? But, and I mean, I was out there. I threw Monster and cocaine and heroin in my veins, acid. I mean, I'm a good example of why you cannot live your own life. You know what I mean? I can actually prove, what are, like, am I just dumb or stupid? Either one of them ain't no good. You see what I'm saying? But so I went through all that, and none of those, jail didn't do it to me. Beatings didn't work. Talking to me didn't work. And then as I got older, I found out, but the topic is about the brotherhood, and that's why I'm glad nobody gave up on me, because I am a brother, but I was just, I don't know, wasn't thinking right or something like that. I needed to be in a different zone mentally, but I just wasn't there. You know, I just did not see it, you know? And I'll tell you something else. If it ain't just a project, I went to the Army, right? Thinking, okay, I'm out the projects, cool. Now I can turn my life around. Did not try to kill my sergeant in the military. Didn't, when they told me, I went to Fort Riley, Kansas, right? This is 75, right?
Oh, Aaron was in the service.
Shout out, man.
After basic training, they get you 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Once you do that, that's the only time it happens. But one day in 75 in Kansas, they came in my room, 4 o'clock. Private Nelson, draw your weapon out. We're going to Nam. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. I ain't going. He's like, what are you talking about? Draw your weapon and let's go. I'm like, yo, I ain't going. So sometimes just to say, like, our minds are like, it needs a lot of talking. I don't know. But for me, it was when the brother from Trinidad brought in an album from Bob Marley, who was talking about the creator in a way that I didn't never heard before. I heard of Christianity, heard of Islam, heard of this and that. And it just came from a poor brother that was going through some thing. And he's like, yo, now check this out. Y'all don't got to agree. But there's an element out there that is way more powerful than you. And he gets inside of people. You cannot combat that. It's a spiritual thing. Therefore, you need to draw on a spiritual power to deal with this spiritual thing. You see what I'm saying? We don't, and once you go to that source, you can get that spiritual power from this source, just like it was promised to give Now you can see a brother as your brother. I don't care what color. I don't care what they into. Yeah, they need to be turned around and everything like that, but you can't, but everybody's still my brother. That's like what I said about the king and queen. Any kind of sister, yeah, you're not acting right, but you are a queen, but you ain't acting right though. You are a king, my brother, but you ain't acting right. And I know because I came from that low of a position. Not, I ain't saying I'm all that good now, but I ain't trying to kill people, and I ain't trying to sling all them drugs in my arms, and I ain't stealing from nobody, you know, and I'm really 8th grade dropout, to tell you the truth. You know, I wasn't the most gangster dude out there, but, you know, 8th grade dropout, and I got to tell you this because he led me on a walk, man, where, I mean, like I said, I done electrical, right? Man, you had to know mathematics. I don't know no math. I don't know no. I didn't go to school. I went to school for the girls. You see what I'm saying? Give me some girls, give me some women, and you know what I mean, and everything. And I'm cool, you know. But it's not more to life. So I tried to get married in that condition. Won't work. Won't work. As soon as I got the strength to recognize, like, hey, we are all brothers and sisters. What you doing? Calling yourself tough was knucklehead stuff. If you want to be tough, try doing what I'm laying down in that crazy world out there. You want to be tough? Try doing what I'm telling you to do in front of all them. I went to my boys, you know, Quill, Mustafa, Earl Dunks, Bill Sterling, all those, right? And I told them, yo, man, I'm trying to change my life. Don't knock for me. I won't knock for you. They was like, yo, man, F you. Who you think you is, man? With my boys, right? They could have said, Ken, you know what? Yeah, we all like, if you can better yourself, man, go ahead for it, right? But that all worked in my favor. That was part of that plan. So I can separate, go on a journey with him. Everything changed. Oh, it's like a lot of different worlds out here in this world. You see what I'm saying? If we want to help our young help each other, who do you think is more capable of doing that? You or the creator? Now, if you don't believe in the creator, then it's you. Okay? But if you believe in the creator, you got to know, like, ain't nobody else making planets, stars, animals, fish, insects, humans. So I'm on his side. You know what I mean? Because you can do all that, I'm on your side. You see what I'm saying? And you know, so I'm just saying, to get the true meaning of brotherhood, I got it from the word of God. You see what I'm saying? And he taught me how to, like, don't never disrespect somebody, because look at what you done. Okay, you was the same exact way. Now you act like, oh, what's the matter with these kids today? And you was the same way. How you gonna do that? You see what I'm saying?
Right. So
Okay, I ended there.
No, it's all right. For our viewer that just sent this whole paragraph on Facebook, that's impossible for me to read that. Look, but I get what you're saying. She's saying each community needs to fund their own police and security, recreation centers, and basically for the community to be more in charge and work together to try to deal with all the things that's going on. That's basically what the whole paragraph of what she's saying.
Right.
D, can you talk real quick, Simply D? I know you raised your hand a couple minutes ago. If not, I want to jump over to Aaron real quick. And the time is 6:06, so we got 25 minutes.
Brief.
Go ahead, Ed.
I'll be brief. A lot of times I hear people join groups, unions, associations, things like that. They call themselves brothers. They have their own brotherhoods. So I look at brotherhood as something that forms some type of likeness, some type of experience that you share with other people. And for us, as far as us being Black, we have a unique experience that we all share. And the lack of a culture, a true culture, we had to learn a culture. So when I see another Black man, if I see another Black woman, I think of them as a brother or a sister, because we have a certain likeness. We have a certain experience that we share. Not everyone else shares that. I don't look at other races as, hey, brother, or that's my brother, because they can't even imagine, or they can't relate to what experience that I've shared with another Black person. So when I look at brotherhood, I look at it as some type of cultural likeness, cultural experience that you share, even if you don't know the person. The person could be a terrible person, And the same way a family member could be a terrible person.
Right.
That's your brother by blood or your brother by, you know, family, but it's nonetheless your brother, just not a good person. If I see a black man or a black woman, brother and sister, and I say, hey, brother, not because I'm looking at or judging him or what he's done or what I think he might do. I'm looking at him as someone who shares a certain likeness or experience that I've shared or my history has shared throughout history. So I'm gonna try to keep it brief. Are you still there?
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I look at brotherhood as iron sharper than iron, basically. And unfortunately, for black men, brotherhood only represented something that was unique when we were segregated from other folks, when we were dealing with racism and being lynched and all those things. We had those organizations like the NAACP and like the Urban League and all these other organizations that came out of the civil rights movement. And there was a need for that because men were being killed, men were being lynched, men were being subject to all kinds of things from, American society. So now that you have those things are less vocal or less physically seen, everybody wants to be, kumbaya, let's all be together, let's cultural diversities and all those things. So they water down that brotherhood. So where you had the strength in the brotherhood, it's no longer that type of strength. It's a whole different platform. Now it's a business. Now it's a franchise or something along those lines. So the brotherhood isn't the same as it used to be, but there's different alliances now. You can look at a bunch of cats that sling rock or whatever. Those are brothers. That's a brotherhood. Getting the product, manufacturing the product, pushing the product. That's a brotherhood, good or bad, whatever the case may be. But most brotherhoods that we see today currently are still kind of organizational based, whether it's the Masonic order or whether it's FOI or whatever form of brotherhood that pops up where there's an accumulative number of black men that come together to try to unify ourselves. So for me, brotherhood represents knowing those brothers or knowing the people in your community that are your brothers, knowing everything about them. We all know that one brother that we all say, man, he crazy. Somebody gonna kill him one day. And then that actually goes to happen one day. Somebody does kill him because we knew from that group, because that group we hung with or that group of brothers that we shared everything with, they knew that. They knew that this person would run into this problem or that person would run into that problem. They also knew who was going to be the success. Oh, this guy going to wind up being a lawyer, man. He going to come back and take care of all of us. So right now, the brotherhood could be much stronger, but we just have an identity crisis for ourselves. And because we have those identity crises, it's hard for us to trust each other in business. It's hard for us to trust each other in relationships. You want to be able to leave your crib and leave your brother in the crib and not know that him and your wife are going to get into something or whatever the case may be. There's no trust there. There's no, there's no bonding there as it was. You'll find it maybe in a church organization, like you see organizations like Black Lives Matter, where people come together. A brotherhood is formulated in that, but that's a mixed blend. So I think right now we need to probably take a look at what we do as a community, and eventually it'll go back to that because that's what it has to do. By nature, it's going to return to it's going to correct itself amongst us. But we're going to be the ones that are going to be the focal point in making that happen. We got to be the ones who put out the support, and you got the brothers in music that are brotherhood. You got the Chuck D's and Talib Kweli's and Usain Bey. All these brothers are real profound brothers, very deep brothers, giving you knowledge, giving you wisdoms from everything spiritual to everything religious. They're giving it all to you. You have the opportunity to learn it, but that's not what you want because you want the bling, you want the showmanship, you want the girls, you want and then that one brother gonna say about that brother, well, yeah, he doing this, he doing that. They ain't doing much. They ain't doing that, man. Them cats is fake or whatever. So where you looking for support from your brother, you can't even find that. y'all go up in the club and tear the club up because you looked at his girl, he looked at your girl, and all this old nonsense. So we got a long way to go, as the brother said earlier. We got a long way to go with respect to that, but it's not a done deal. I think we're starting to put things together based on this thing that just happened this past year. And I've seen us a lot stronger, even in terms of families and starting businesses and everything, than I've ever seen ever in my life. So I know there's a possibility for this to come, you know, some real stuff. You know what I mean?
True. Bruce, brotherhood. Discuss as far as what brotherhood mean, with some of the things that you want to bring to the forefront.
Well, I've been listening to everybody, and once again, man, thank God for you brothers, man, because all y'all have some real strong, valid perspectives on the word being a brother. I also want to send a shout out to Eddie Rome for the comment he made about seeing me as a brother more than a cousin. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
That's big ups for you. Same for you, Mark. But when I think of the topic, the brother that was just speaking before me, I apologize. I forget your name, but he said about Chuck D, and that's what I was thinking about when he said it. When he said, "Every brother is not a brother because of color, just as well as he was under color." I don't know if y'all remember that. I think, what was that? Don't believe the pipe, don't believe the hype, or something like that.
Say that again. I like that. Repeat that.
He said, Chuck D's quote was, "Every brother is not a brother because of color, just as well as he was under color."
Nice.
And that's about Chuck D. So I see it this way, man. And we talked about that thing, kings and queens, using the word lightly and stuff. Well, I think when it comes to using something lightly, is the word brother, because the reality to that is, like my brother was saying a minute ago, we call a brother brother, but at the end of the day, we don't trust him. We don't trust him like we would, like, I guess, quote unquote, we should trust a brother. You know what I mean? If a brother has a business and you want to use his services and he gives you a quote for his services, I know this because it's what I do. And you see your brother, we instantly think that he trying to get over us. He trying to, oh, why you got to be this high, or you want to give me good service and stuff like that. They don't really respect the business perspective of that brother. Number one. And number two is just when you have brothers that come into your circle. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I call people brothers too, man. I use it as a term of association. And it's a lot of associations. Let me see. I got associations by blood, associations by location, associations by ethics, associations by religion, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So the brother will fit into a whole lot of those categories. But at the end of the day, what really is the merit behind that word? You know what I mean? Is it just an association word, or is it a word that has some kind of substance to it? Where because you my brother, A, B, C, and D, and so forth and so forth. You know, but and don't get me wrong, even when people associate with me as their brothers, you know, people, you ever had somebody want to sell you something and they say to you, "Come on, my brother, give me this job." And you, soon as they say it that way, what's the first thing come in your mind? Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Or I say something that might cause a little bit of an argument. Even when we get into our quote unquote spiritual institutions, we always call each other brothers, but at the same time, we're trying to network our resources and our goods versus embracing the spiritualness of the reason why we came together. I got a problem with that sometimes. So, to me, man, listen, I really believe that in a lot of ways, we are brothers than what we aren't. You know, like one brother said something like when they had the Black Lives Matter thing, man, that was the first time I ever seen white folks really come out and represent the way they did. I mean, they were standing on corners, mad for real. You know, I was like, wow. You know, but then I seen something else that kind of made me think twice. It was when they were doing the riots. I saw white folks come into the black neighborhood with masks on and tear up the city, and then it hit the news like we was tearing up our own city. So again, it's two sides to that. You know what I mean? You know, some people use it for good, some people use it for bad, some people use it to just keep something going.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you know, God gave us brothers, man, and a brother. What did he say? One brother said, like iron sharpens iron, so should every brother sharpen the countenance of his own brother. That's how that quote goes. Listen, it was a brother that shot Martin Luther King. It was a brother that shot Malcolm X. You know what I mean? There's brothers that did some crazy stuff out here, man. So, you know what I mean? You know, just because somebody say that, to me, it depends on who it's coming from. You know what I mean? I don't, just because you say the word, it don't hold any merit. What holds the merit is the relationship I have with the person that surrounds the word.
Cool.
That's my take on it.
Simply D, I know you just raised your hand. You still available?
Yeah, give me a second. Go to somebody else and I'll be right back.
All right. So for everybody real quick, y'all are watching the Men's Empowerment 2021 on Facebook and Zoom.
Let me take one because they don't really got to take the pictures.
Oh, okay.
If you're listening to the podcast, Sadior Radio. And if you're listening live, you're listening to Sadior Radio. The station is more than music. Go ahead, Simply D.
I'm free.
You're freezing. Go ahead, you
Hello?
good. Yeah, you good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with Russell Westbrook and a couple of Sixers right now, so that's why I keep going in and out. First, brotherhood. Sometimes brotherhood, like you said, that word gets lost with some people because we're so pitted against each other that we look to do each other in. And what I'm thankful for is my spiritual father has given me the gift to see people. So I can see after a while who you are. And once I see who you are, I'm gonna still teach you. I'm just not going to deal with you on a certain level anymore. You know what I mean? You're going to be more restricted. Have a good one, Russell. You're going to be more restricted. You know what I mean? I'm not going to allow you in my circle anymore, but I'm going to still teach you. I'm going to teach you by not letting you be around me anymore. And you're going to see my movement and wish you were still a part of that. That's how I'm going to teach you.
Right, right. You see how ballers are? They in the middle of a men's empowerment and they saying, have a good one to Russell to NBA players. That's that baller stuff. Who we got, man? And hey, did y'all speak on brotherhood yet?
No, I didn't.
All right, go ahead. You got it.
I'm gonna make mine kind of short. Kind of piggybacking off of what some of the brothers said, especially what A said in the beginning, talking about like culture, relationships, and bonds and things like that. From a standpoint of what do brotherhood mean to me, that's what I think. I think of a bond. I think of an allegiance. You know, over 30 years ago, I went to high school. You know, as a freshman in high school, and to this day, I have gentlemen, men that from that time on to right now, you know, I really consider my brothers, you know, and I've lived in neighborhoods where I don't consider people as close as I do to these guys. And do I talk to all these guys that I met in 92, 80, 88?
Don't forget that date.
Yeah, do I conversate with each and every one of them? No, I don't. But I know we still have this brotherhood. We still have this bond. Like you can go through a text message right now, and it's 10, 12 of us on the text message that we've been doing this for the last 10, 15 years. And that's what I call brotherhood. You know, I was able to reach out to a couple of my brothers and say, listen, I'm having a problem with a family member or a friend that I need you to help me out with. And without hesitation, it was, I got you, I'm on it. And that problem was that situation was taken care of without a question being asked. So when I look at brotherhood, I look at, the relationship that you have with these gentlemen, that the relationship that, or the culture that you keep with these guys. Again, like I said, in '88, no one knew each other. We walked in this school and it was like, all right, so now what? So now all of a sudden, here we are, these ninth grade knuckleheads, and by the time we hit 12th grade, it was like we was inseparable. Like there was nothing you can do to any one of those gentlemen that you wouldn't, have to do to each and every one of us. So that right there is when I look at brotherhood, when I think brotherhood, that's what I think. And again, like I said, I can pick up a phone and call, any one of these guys, at any given time and say, listen, you know what, I'm in a bond. And if that person can help me out, he definitely will. In the same way as reciprocated from me to them. So that's my look at brotherhood. It's not your blood all the time. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. There's a few of those guys, and Mark, and I'm not afraid to say that you're one of them, Mark, that I probably look at you more as a family member than I do some of my own family members. So, and that's real, like I said, and I've known you since, 1988, Mark. And like I said earlier, the day before we jumped on, I actually know these guys longer than I didn't know you guys. You know what I mean? Like, you've been in my life longer than you haven't been in my life. So that's when I look at brotherhood, that's what I look at. And I look back at 30 years ago, 32 years ago, and here we are still in this relationship, still in this brotherhood, still in our own, whatever you want to call it, our own community, whatever you want to call it. But here we are, we're still here, we're still uplifting. Something's on your mind, you have no problem with picking up the phone, calling me or texting me, and vice versa. I'm having a rough day or whatever the case may be, but we have that communication. And to me, that right there, that's what I look at, brother. When I say brotherhood, and just to finish it off, I'm proud to be able to say that you are my brother, and you have been my brother for over 30 years, and I look forward, to that same kind of brotherhood, for the next 30 years. So,
absolutely. Hey, did you say anything? Did you talk on brotherhood?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. I couldn't hear you. Say again. So because it's 6:25, I ain't even going to jump into another topic. I'll just basically give my input on brotherhood, which I think it's about something that my cousin Bruce said. It's about more so the communication and being in that circle as far as the movement. Matter of fact, everything that y'all said, I take from and I put it to brotherhood, because I think it's about action. Because you have some people that, say they're your brother, we brothers, we cool, this and that, but their actions is the total opposite of the topic brotherhood. Just like, some people say family, and it's the action that, people do when it comes to family. I mean, family's going to be family regardless because they're connected. But I can speak about the two gentlemen that's on now, because they're on, is my cousin, Rennie, and my cousin Bruce. It's like we don't talk every day, but we check on each other. They like posts, they'll check text or whatever the case may be, just to keep that communication. And I think that's missing in a lot of family members, is that it takes 30 seconds to send a text message just to say, hey, I ain't want nothing, just wanted to check on you to say hi. And people don't realize that sometimes that checking on a person might just make their day. A simple text message, a simple phone call, checking on family members, or checking on, your friends or stuff like that. And I think that's one of the key factors of the 15 individuals that's on a text message that you put together, that you started, is just, hey, Happy New Year, brothers, you and your family, be safe. People don't utilize technology to try to keep that bond, as far as the brotherhood or family or whatever way you want to word it. And I think that that's very important. And it's funny because everybody on here I've dealt with. Aaron is the newest person as far as in my, circle that I'm always reaching out to, that we have, I can't say hours of conversation because we be really working, but hours of conversation. Look, look, I don't know who's going to watch this. We don't talk that long at work, but, we have conversations as we working. To protect it. So it's good. And Dennis, who's Mr. TK, basically has been around me forever. And of course, my pop, you know, at the bottom, that self-explanatory from his title, you know. So, and Tony is like big brother, you know. So it's good to have individuals on here that I knew all my life, and I think, and it's not taking nothing away from the other men's empowerment, because it's been in people on there that's connected to me too. But this one is a kind of close to me because I have family on here and friends and brothers that I can say brothers because we're actually brothers through action. So before we get off, it's 28. I want to thank Ty again, who jumped off, which I knew him forever because, you know, that's Cowboy from Dancing on Air that was on there for all the people that know about Dancing on Air. That was Cowboy. I'm gonna put him, that was on earlier. He jumped off.
Show some of them clips.
But I gotta show love, you know. Everybody go to YouTube and search that. But that was Cowboy that was on.
Nice.
Know. I had to jump off, and there's a lot of people in here that's doing amazing things. And I was going to touch on the structure as far as if you was a teacher, what would you say to the younger men? But I think what people need to do is just basically go back and watch both shows, because I put it in 2 parts, because we touched on a lot of things that go into that topic as far as to help the community, you know. And I want to send a shout out to you, Ren, because you never let me down with the professor conversation type. I mean, and I knew that you was going to come that way, and that's why I loved it, because it's you know, you have some individuals that think because we're not in suit and ties, and Aaron, you know who I'm talking about, because we're not in suit and ties, people have a tendency to think that you can't learn from individuals and from brothers, because we sitting here and I got a t-shirt on and Bruce driving his work truck and Dennis there and Dad is in the studio and, you know, everybody's sitting in their home, that you have to be a book smart, sitting there with a suit and tie with lawyers around me, that's what you have, that's the kind of man you got to talk to learn from. And, you know, like I was telling Aaron earlier when we had a conversation, I think it was last week, I said, wait till we do this men's empowerment, because I know every person's personality on here. And that's why I knew that this would be a great show, because I know everybody personally. So again, I want to thank everybody. And I definitely want to thank Fatima, Carolyn, who's been on rocking with us for the whole show. Let's see, we got Dom that was on there. Dominique jumped on here. We got Dominique on here. We got other individuals, Jay, Shonda. I want to thank you because you brought that topic up far as about being with somebody and they're not being on the same page. I see people tag people. And of course, if y'all missed any of this, somebody said you're welcome. I appreciate y'all, I really do. And for the women that did the video to promote the men's empowerment, for the women that shared the flyer, I definitely salute and I appreciate you, because men, and this is my opinion, I feel as though when you have strong women around you that's supportive of men, we can be great men. And just don't give up. And I'm not saying us, but I'm just saying don't give up. Something that my pop Ken Nelson said is that what you do is you don't give up on men and individuals that's at the left, you know, because once you give up on that person, it's over. You got to push and try to stick in with that person. And I want to say this, and I'm going to end it. Jimmy Dennis, who's like a big brother to me, said something to me that I always will remember. He said, just imagine when Malcolm X was a pimp and doing drugs and dyeing his hair and all that stuff and got locked up. Just imagine if everybody gave up on Malcolm X when he was at that stage of his life. If they gave up on him, when we have the Malcolm X that we know, that educated, that fought for rights, that moved out the way that he moved out. So use that as an example, and don't give up on individuals just because they left. Try to feed and push them to come to the right way, because you never know when it's click that, damn, you know what, I need to change my life. So again, I appreciate everybody. I keep hearing people say not hearing, but reading people saying we need a part 2. We need a part 2. So I'll make that happen before the end of the year if everybody's interested in jumping on, and I'll make it happen. So enjoy y'all Sunday. I appreciate y'all. Anybody got anything to say before we log off?
Thank you to all the brothers on it too.
Brothers, be cool.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. Love y'all.
I just want to thank all the brothers. And do know I look at y'all as brothers, even though I may not speak to some of you, but I do know that I can reach out to most of you on here, and you will help me out the best way that you can even if it's checking me and putting me in a proper perspective for things. And I appreciate that.
For sure.
All right, y'all. So again, thanks everybody. Make sure y'all definitely go back. If you missed any of it, go on YouTube in like an hour. It'll be up on YouTube. Search Sadior Radio or listen to it on the podcast. And peace, y'all. Much love.
Good night.
Peace, my
Say,
brother.
brother.
All right, man.